first couple minutes just to do the organization and housekeeping stuff. So Laska, please, stage is yours.
Hello, everybody, and I'm super happy to be here with you and our wonderful speakers. This is our first Move Week webinar, and we're using the GoToWebinar app. So you see that we are still fitting and fixing few things, so please bear with us. I believe that in the next few minutes we will manage not to have both screens. So the GoToWebinar allows that you ask questions, and there's a question form that you see. These questions come directly to us, and we will see it as organizers, and at the end of the meeting we will answer them. You also have the chat function in the GoToWebinar where you can discuss different topics between each other, and you can also share different links with each other. This GoToWebinar is being recorded, so at the end of the session, everybody that have registered will receive the recording, and hopefully we will listen it again and again. I'm very happy once again that our speakers accepted our invitation to be here. Martin will be our moderator and host for the meeting. I will try to be the technical person. We will have Maria from ISCA team collecting all the questions. On the background, we will have Rachel also from ISCA team taking notes and taking the presenters' ideas and also your questions. So we have a good team of participants. We have about 100 people who registered for the course, and I see that with the time of the introduction, we also have people also joining with us. So we are a rather big group, and we hope that you enjoy our webinar and this session. And I'm handing back to Martin, and yeah, his great moderation. And if I'm not looking directly at you, this is because I'm looking at the other screen to check everything is fine. So yeah, this is it, Martin.
Thank you, Laska. Thank you for introduction. And again, back to main theme. What is the new normal? In next hour and a half, we will be discussing what does it mean for sport organization, and we have actually 4 representatives, from different sector, because we have included Eurofitness and Toni Llop, which is organization which connects fitness clubs in Spain. Then we have Patrik Perosa from university field, from university sport. And then we have Mikkel Selmar, which is representative of NGO from Denmark, which is focusing on street sports. And then myself, I'm coming from Czech Sokol organization, which is also a traditional organization, sports for all organization. So, but before I will give the floor to other speakers, I would like also to give you 3 questions just to warm up a little bit. And I would like to ask Laska, if you can help me with that, just to share the first question for you guys. And we would like to know, what sector are you coming from? So we know a little bit more about your background, so we can actually give you more precise answer during the webinar. So please select one answer from the question. Let's vote and give us some answer so we know a little bit more about you. So if you are from government or educational, such as schools or universities, if you are from commercial fitness, sports club, or sports for all umbrella organization. So I'll give you 10 more seconds. beside being presenter, I'm also a trainer. So sometimes my approach is more like in the training. So 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Are we done?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So we have 61% of our participants from Sport for All umbrella organizations.
Okay.
We have 17 from education, school, university. We have 13 from sports clubs and 9 from commercial fitnesses and 0 from government.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you very much for your answers. Well, we have still 2 more questions. We're still warming up. So, Paul, question number 2. What is your biggest struggle related to COVID-19 outbreak? If you can look at it from your perspective and from your experience, is it cash flow difficulties? Is it that you are losing human resources such as employees, coaches, athletes? You are facing fear from members and customers, or you are losing volunteers, which is also burning, or not able to train and compete as an athlete. So what is the biggest struggle with COVID-19 in regards of sports organization you are representing? I give you 10 more seconds for answers. Let's give it a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. So, Laska, can you share the results, please?
Yes, the results are that we have 22% of participants not able to train and compete. 22% of participants, they find difficulties in cash flow difficulties. We have 43% of our participants, they feel that customers member fear of the situation. 13% of losing volunteers, and we have 0, which is amazing, of losing human resource employees and coaches.
Well, some good news. Well, good. That's also very interesting to know. So, last question, without any any problems, we can ask last question. In your opinion, how do you see COVID-19 crisis or outbreak? Do you see it more as an opportunity or as a threat? This is a quick question for quick answer. So let's say 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3. I know that you are clicking really fast. 3, 2, 1, and stop. So how do you see COVID-19 crisis? Is it an opportunity or a crisis or threat?
It is 59% opportunity and 41% of a threat.
Well, that's very interesting result, and I think we can go back to those results right after, because now it's time for each presenter to introduce himself and tell us a little bit more about your background and your organization you are coming from, just for you, so you can know something more about our excellent speakers. Toni, and please unmute your mics.
Toni?
Toni, I think we cannot hear you. Please unmute your microphone. So it doesn't work. Okay, so I will pass the ball to Mikkel. Hopefully his microphone will work. It does not work as well. Michael, please unmute your microphone because we cannot hear you, I think. For you, which you are now watching, can you just give us a little feedback if you can hear our presenters or not, just to check if the problem is just in my computer or someone?
Mm-hmm. What does it say?
So we cannot unmute us. How can we do this? Okay, we need to unmute. Sorry for interruption. So we will fix that in hopefully a second. This always can happen. Laska, please, if you can help me with that.
Yes, my screen shows that you are muted actually, and everybody actually...
Now it's working.
Yes.
Yes, Patrik is now live.
And maybe so am I?
Yes, you too. So
yeah.
now it works. Whew. Okay, and Toni, can you? And we still don't have Toni, so I'll just try to see if this is gonna work. No, Toni, we cannot hear you. Okay, before we fix the problem with
Toni is self-muted, so Toni, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah,
now I unmuted you.
Yes,
now,
we got you.
Yes.
Okay. I was muted by you, the organizer.
Yes,
So
this can
that's
happen.
my floor. That's my floor to introduce myself.
Yes, now it's your.
Okay. Officially, good evening, good afternoon to all of you. Thanks for attending such an interesting experience organized by ISCA in this Move Week. Well, I'm Toni Llop. I'm representing Eurofitness and UBAE Foundation. Eurofitness is a fitness commercial brand that runs sports centers in the city of Barcelona and surroundings. I'm partner director in Eurofitness, and I'm professor in the Physical Activity and Fitness Technology University degree in Barcelona, and I'm vice president of ISCA.
Thank you very much, Toni, for a short introduction. Make it brief. Then we have Mikkel. Please, if you can introduce a little bit you and your organization.
Thank you so much, Martin. My name is Mikkel Selmar. I'm the head of facilities at the Danish nonprofit organization called GAME. And to give you a better idea of what our organization does, Laska has promised that we would be able to show a very short 1.5-minute video of our activities. Is that possible, Laska?
Yes, I can do this now.
Yes, I'm assuming we're back with the mic on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice. So as you saw in the short video, Game is working towards creating lasting social change through youth-led street sports and activities in Denmark, and also since 2007 internationally. We train youth from underserved communities to become volunteers, who we call game playmakers, and they lead weekly community practices in the street sports like street basketball, street soccer, and parkour and dance. And we use local playgrounds. Can you hear me? Okay, I was just hearing somebody being unmuted. So you could say that empowerment and developing life skills through street sports are at the core of our activities, and our volunteers serve as local role models in their own communities. Apart from that, we also operate 4 street sports facilities in Denmark, where we in partnerships with a number of Danish foundations and municipalities have transformed leftover or abandoned industrial buildings into local hubs for street sports and urban culture. And these facilities constitute the frame for self-organized and semi-organized activities, along with also traditional organized sports. I've been with Game for 10 years and has also served as the head of our social programs. Can you still hear me?
Martin?
Thank you. Now I've been unmuted. So thank you, Mikkel. And we have Patrik, which is next in line to introduce shortly his organization. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello to everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank you to join today us in this webinar. I hope that you will enjoy. So just shortly to present you myself and my organization. Actually, in the last 20 years, I'm active in almost all fields of sports. So I'm active. I was active in the past in elite sport, sport for all, university sport, and company sports. But my professional job is connected with the University Sport Association of the Primorska region in Slovenia. And actually, we are responsible for the sport of the universities, for the students of our university. So we are doing competition, sport, and all other activities which are related to the sport. And the students can join, most of them free of charge. And of course, nothing is obligatory by the university, so they can freely join all our activities that we are doing.
Thank you, Patrik. Thank you for a short introduction. So just shortly about myself and our organization. I'm from Czech Sokol organization, which is an NGO organization, and we have actually 3 main fields of activities. And this is sports for all, and we have also competitive clubs with competitive and top level athletes, and we have also plenty of cultural activities and cultural activities as well. So we work in Czech Republic, and we have also approximately more than 1,000 Sokol clubs, and we also own facilities where we operate. So and my position in the organization, I'm a member of the board, and professionally I also specializing in education of coaches and trainers within Sokol, within our organization. So just briefly about our organization. Well, if we go back to results from the poll, how our speakers, or how do you see COVID-19 crisis Do you think it's an opportunity or a threat, Toni?
Well, it depends on the reaction of the entity or the association. For many people, it means a threat, because if you're still considering to do your business as usually, it's really a threat. But if you are considering, you as an organization, if you are considering to get profit from this opportunity, it means that you will be able to change your, business model, your way of do things. Then it will become an opportunity for sure.
Mm-hmm. What Patrik thinks?
Of course, I'm thinking that this should be an opportunity, because we always should find the solutions when the problems occur. So I definitely think that from this COVID-19, which is a serious problem worldwide, I think that we can find solutions which will help us to do our job probably in a different way, but also to find some new possibilities of doing other activities. The only thing which I'm a little bit worried, because I'm not sure that our governments or the politicians who are deciding are thinking the same. So this is something that I'm a little bit afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Mikkel?
Yes, representing a street sports organization, I would say it's an opportunity, because street sports and the outdoors as a venue for sports and recreational activities has never been more crucial to staying physically active with so many indoor sports activities being locked down at the moment. But also because it forces everybody to rethink approaches and be innovative, and also seek the opportunities for finding new approaches also.
Yeah. From my point of view, it's also a big opportunity. What I can document and see in our organization, it really pushed us to innovate in the way how we communicate and how we share information among our sports clubs and how we are operating. So, of course, there are some side effects and negative effects which can be threatening, such as losing incomes and not enough resources for cash flow. But seeing from perspective organization which has 160 years of history, we have actually survived much worse. So with regard of that, I believe and we think that we can survive this COVID crisis as well, and strengthened, not weakened. So do you have any comments as to the results of the polls, for instance, that the biggest fear is, and almost half of our attendees think that the biggest obstacle now is fear of members and customers. Do you have any comments on that, on the result?
Well, I think that the only way to fight with this fear is providing confidence and credibility about what you offer, about the way that you implement the, restrictions or preventive measures. But you have to provide to your members credibility and confidence. This is the only way to fear them. And of course, be patient and let them time to check that you are doing well.
Yes, Mikkel?
I would assume the answer also reflects where our audience comes from, because if they come from a country where the reopening is far ahead, I know some of us in this panel are representing countries where, or at least Laska mentioned that where she is right now is more or less reopened. It's obviously that would affect the answer. So I think that's pretty important to notice that also. Obviously, this will be very dependent on where our audience come from.
Yeah, Patrik, do you want to reflect on?
Yeah, just shortly. Of course, we will face, and we are currently already facing people that have a fear. and our role is to explain them that we are doing the right things, that we are doing and preparing all conditions that are safe and healthy for practice sport. And this is important. So to communicate with them directly and to show them what we are doing to keep their health in a proper way. I'm only worried from the other part that from our governments there are too many restrictions, too many sharing fear, too many speaking about the second wave, etc. What I'm missing from also media to be a little bit more optimistic, because it's not the end of our world, it's not the end of our life. We will continue very soon in a probably different way that we did in the past, but of course we don't stop to live. We are going further.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. That brings me to another question. If you can shortly explain how is the current situation with COVID-19 in your country and how your organization is responding to it? Because I know that we are from different countries and there are with different phases of outbreaks. So, for instance, Mikkel, I know Denmark was a little bit ahead with easing the restriction, I guess.
Well, the country was more or less closed down after March 12th, where our Prime Minister introduced the lockdown of most of society, including outdoor and indoor sports. Luckily, the health authorities has not been stretched over their capacity, and the country is slowly starting the process of reopening. It started in April. We are now in phase 2 out of 4 phases of the reopening, and regulated outdoor sports has gradually been allowed to reopen here in May, along with professional sports. So we hope and expect to be allowed to reopen our indoor sports activities by June 8th. But it has not been settled yet whether fitness centers and pools will be allowed to open in June. We hope, but otherwise they will probably have to wait further into the summer, maybe even August.
Mm-hmm. Toni?
Yeah, here in Spain, lockdown was declared in March 13, and it means during 60, close to 70 days, people were obliged to stay at home. No any physical activity was allowed on the street. Just at the beginning of May, it was allowed to go individually for sport outside. So then runners, bikers start to do physical activity. Next phase, we are now, depending on the areas in Spain, there are different phases of lifting. Now in the area of Barcelona, we are in the phase 1. That means that still prohibited to do physical activity as a group in the street. Only individual practices are allowed, and are allowed perform in a certain time of the day. So there are some hours per day that you can do physical activity outdoor. In the meantime, professional sports will start by June the 10th, 12th of June. And for fitness centers, sport clubs, indoor physical activity, it's planned to arrive by June the 20th, 22nd in the phase number 3. So it means that it's not so clear because it depends on the evolution of the infection, but normally this is the calendar. All schools and physical activity at schools are closed, and it's planned to prepare physical activity or to prepare the next season for schools by September. So the current season is over. Till September, children will not go back to the schools.
Mm-hmm. Patrik?
Yeah, so in Slovenia, like my colleagues just already said, I think that the dates were more or less the same. So on 12th of March, we start the lockdown, everything closed on the day after. And regarding the sports, of course, nothing was allowed because we should stay at home, etc. But in mid of April, they already allow us to do outdoor sport activities individually, only recreational. So it means no organized, no professional, and nothing. And starting with May, slowly all the other sports activities were allowed. Let's say that just a few days ago, also competition starts in football, let's say National League, etc. Of course, without the spectators. And the only thing that is still not allowed are fitness centers and swimming and wellnesses, which should start from Monday on. So probably you heard that Slovenia was first in Europe to declare that we are out of the pandemic period. So we were lucky that this doesn't affect us a lot. Even, you know, that our first neighbor is Italy, where they face much more problems than we in Slovenia. And now we are looking really optimistical to start with all the activities, because also the hotels opened and all touristic area starts to work. So if I can tell you, I feel already that we are out of this period, because when you go to the streets, when you go to restaurants or whatever, it looks very similar to what was in the past, except that we should wear in some places a mask.
Well, in our current situation in Czech Republic, we have now it was allowed to actually open both fitness clubs and sport clubs and Sokol units as well. And we can actually exercise both indoor and outdoor with the maximum of 300 people at the same time, with the possibility to using also the lockers, showers, and so on. There's plenty of actually regulation which each facility has to fulfill, disinfection and all those measures. But overall, we can see that the life is going back to state before the March 13, when was the lockdown introduced in the Czech Republic. Of course, there are some issues or problems with events, with mass events with more than 300 participants. These are actually cancelled or moved to another term. So this is the time. But from this Monday also, I think that schools are open for kids in the elementary school, 1st to 5th grade. And it's not actually obligatory to attend the school. You can still stay at home and follow the online classes from teachers, but rest of it, it's possible to go to school. There are also some really strict rules, like 15 kids in the class and so on. And I think that physical education is actually still not allowed in the schools right now. So just this little summing. I can still remind all participants that you can ask question to our presenters, Toni, Mikkel, and Patrik, Laska, and me, and also write the comments about maybe perhaps how the situation is right now in your country and how does it affect your organization, so we can know about it and we can reflect on that later. I think what is the most crucial for sports organization is this time is planning and having some plan, strategic plan, what to do in this outbreak or during these times. So my question to all of you is, do you have a clear strategy or your organization regarding COVID and how you handle that? Who can start? Toni, perhaps you can start.
Yeah. Well, we started our strategy the minute after lockdown. The strategy was focused in 8 points. First one was to create a task force for deal with the crisis. I mean, who is going to take the leadership of the situation? And then it opened to us different scenarios. When we were focused on creating this group, the first thing, we took care of our cash flow, because nobody knew at this moment how much time it's going to be used is going to happen in the crisis. So what we did was to check our cash flow, which were our commitments with our suppliers, with our staff, what was our situation. Then we focused the cash flow, and we were ready to survive during a certain period of time. In third case, we took care of our staff. What's going to happen with our people, our staff, when they have to stop and stay at home for nobody knows how much time, probably 2 weeks or 2 months. But our worry was how to keep them active on the way that we have to keep them active for being ready to start as soon as possible. Fourth was what to do with the members. The members means how are we going to communicate with our members that they have the opportunity to come to the clubs. So what's going to be the way to contact them? Then we decide to provide a few live workouts, online workouts, and then we prepare a team of instructors able to provide these workouts online. We use Instagram live system, and then we plan a schedule of activities that was something like 50 activities per week. And then we implement this as a way to communicate with our members. That was the only phases from the organization that our members were able to see and to recognize. So that was the strategy. And then another point to attend was what to do with our suppliers. We have strategical suppliers, those that we need to restart our activity. Then, as we didn't know exactly for how long should we stop our current activities, we contact them and we check what should be the strategy for attending payments or for attending future services. And then, as we knew that we were going to have time, we plan a training system for our staff, a training system for leaders, and a training system that should allow us to increase our knowledge and be ready to restart as soon as possible. And then there is an issue that we considered that considering that as an opportunity. We draw a plan to innovate our activities and innovate in our business model. So that's important because we were sure from the beginning that nothing is going to be on the same way that it was. And that's very important because now, due to the fact that we have no day-to-day worries, day-to-day occupation, that was time to think on how to reinvent our entity and how to come back stronger. And in the latest point, that's the 8th one, we open our strategy to share about our experience and get knowledge from others in this more collaborative world that's coming. So that was how we focused our strategy, considering these different subjects.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Perhaps Patrik, I think you have some presentation also about your plan and about your approach.
I will make you a presenter now, Patrik.
Okay.
So,
you will share my screen or? Okay, great. Can you hear? Can you see my presentation now?
Yes.
Okay, I will just go shortly what happened. So, as I already explained at the beginning, we are working with students, and students are part of the university. And on actually, even earlier than was declared that the lockdown start, our university on 9th of March already said to students to stay at home. So we faced first big problem that nobody is anymore present, and we should react immediately what to do, what is awaiting us. What happened is that the everyday life of our students changed a lot. So from coming to the university, to gym, to having party, to cycling to the university and whatever. So this daily life completely changed. They stay at home. So staying home, which means that they have lectures from via this different kind of internet applications, and those who like also start to use practicing sports through internet. And this is the main question that we face: what is a threat or opportunity? And of course, because I'm always optimistic, I say, okay, let's find some positive side of this period. It means that we should do something different to work still in our field of university sport. Otherwise, we will just go slowly to shut down and we stop with our work. So we declare in our office that this is an opportunity and we should find how to work. So we came out that a new reality, I call it as a temporary, it's to use different applications like Zoom, GoToMeeting, Teams, or Facebook. Helps us in communicating with our members, with communication with students. So showing them that there is another possibility, even we don't see each other in sport venues. So this was becoming a little bit as a new reality, and we were really following day by day what is the new situation currently in Slovenia, what is the new instructions for our government. So what actually is waiting us, or we will stay like this forever, or we are going to come back. Just to mention something that I think is very important. Sport for all, if you compare it with elite sport, with the professional sport, is a winner of this period, because people still practice sport, even they were close, let's say, in their houses. So they did some physical activities, even in their houses or in their neighborhoods. And actually, this doesn't affect too much the sport for all sector. But sport was completely closed, so no more trainings, no more competition, nothing. So they were really out of their business, and this is something that gave us a big positive in impulse. That means that this is a clear opportunity. So when we were started thinking back to the new normal, we put out 4 questions. So how to bring students back to the sport, recreation, and competitions? So what kind of rules, restrictions to observe? What kind of sport programs to offer? And how we continue, online or live? So this was really first 4 questions to answer. So we started to do the analysis, because to make a good strategy, we did the analysis. And you know that now the students' generation is generational Z, which means that this is the first group in the history that has never known a world without an internet. So currently we know that students are not anymore that students 20 years ago. So they are doing physical activity much less than was done in the past by students. They are spending more time on screens, on social media and everything else. So what does it mean if you close the university, or if your university understand that they can do many things with applications, let's say Zoom? So what does it mean this? So it means that perhaps we can lose students in future if university will continue with such lectures that they then use these applications. So this was for us a big question. So what does it mean? Because this could really affect the health of students if we will stop them to be at home, because they use anyway mobile phones and other applications and other software that help them to be at home safe with their virtual things. So we were expecting that we will face 2 behaviors. One is spoke today, and another is trust. But you can see in this photo, it's very clear. So whoever is taking the path, the end could be the same, just the different road it's taken. So we are expecting that the behavior of people will be split in 2 parts: those who trust and they will come back, and those who will feel fear and they don't want to come. So we were thinking about some new approaches to put the mask in the gyms, or to use this funny movie. I don't know if you can see it. I found it on Facebook. It's really funny. So is this the solution? I think it was a joke, of course. But is this a new reality or not? So I don't believe that this is a new reality, because this is nothing really connected with the sport and a healthy lifestyle. So what was our strategy? We start to think about the strategy. We would like to come back to our normal life stronger and better. So we recognize something that is very important, that we could get new customers. We could have students, those who perhaps in the past didn't come to our sport program because perhaps they didn't feel well, because their body was not so shape or was not in a good physical conditions like the others, so they were afraid to be there. So perhaps now those people will be ready to practice sport at home. So we will do So our strategy is to move some of our sport activities via applications. So we will show them on a Zoom. We use Zoom in most of the cases, and those students can practice sport at home or some other places. This was one of the new strategies that we never did in the past, and we truly believe that we can get even more students than in the past in the gym. So for those who are coming to our sport facilities, we will put rules. So it means that they should be aware what we are doing, what we are expecting from them. So they are clear with our rules, and if they accept these rules, then they will feel comfortable because they are in a group of the people that think the same. So these are the two different ways that we are now working. And what we will focus in our new approach is to promote healthy lifestyle, because we truly believe that the immune system can be much better if we do a healthy lifestyle. So we will put a lot of efforts in promoting this. And if we just observe how the World Health Organization is saying how to strengthen our immune system, so we should exercise regularly and all the other things that are helping us to be better tomorrow. So we don't believe, me personally, I don't believe that solution is to put the mask, to stay at home, to use different disinfections, because this is not healthy for ourselves. If we wash the hands with different chemical things, tomorrow our hands will become different. If we close ourselves at home, our immune system will be completely lost. So we will be really, how you say, we will be immediately becoming sick for everything. So what we should do, we should promote the healthy lifestyle to all our people, the customers, students, whatever, that this is the solution if you would like to win against like virus or something else. So this is something that we will focus really a lot, because we would like to give them to come to the roots. So it means to the people that they understand that solution is not just to follow the new restrictions, but the solution is definitely to think in a different way and to start to live the healthy lifestyle. Why I'm saying this? Because this is a good quote. Man must live, not only exist. He must do, not merely be, but he must grow, not just vegetate. So if we don't doing exercises, then we will just vegetate. So it means that we are going to the end. But I don't believe that we are going to the end. I'm thinking that this is just a new start in a different way. So this is something that is a strategy that we think about how to make the future. Because we don't want to exclude those who have the fear. We respect them, and we will offer them completely different new story. So it means through online system, we use internet, and those who doesn't have fear, they are very welcome to come back and to have sport like was in the past, with a clear guarantee from ourselves that we will provide really good conditions. It means that we will provide a healthy gym place, and that they really can feel safe with us.
Okay, thank you, Patrik. Thank you, Patrik, for showing us your strategy. And now time is for Mikkel. How was your strategy?
Well, I will be honest. To begin with, we didn't have a strategy, but strategic priorities have been identified in relation to the different phases of the lockdown. First of all, we could see the need for a very close dialogue and clear communication to both staff and members and partners and donors also. What regulations we were subject to and what measures would be taken. Apart from that, guidelines and also injunctions at a national level was subject to local interpretation at the municipality level. In that way, it became evident that we needed to identify a primary go-to municipal official to make sure that we were in line locally. For instance, sometime after the major lockdown, the four biggest cities in Denmark decided to close all outdoor fitness equipment and certain sports facilities, outdoor sports facilities, while other parts of Denmark left them open. So we had two facilities in one side and two facilities in the other side. So obviously we needed to make sure we would navigate correctly within the different spheres. Obviously, there's also the financial aspect, limiting loss. In Denmark, we have been fortunate enough to be able to apply for relief packages and temporary wage compensation. So obviously, this has been important too. but very important is to retain and engage members and communities via activities on social media platforms, just like you are mentioning too. That goes for both training, but also tutorial challenges, basically just having fun. We have also introduced Meet the Staff, so our customers get another impression of us, where we introduce certain staff members. So next time, hopefully when we see them in our facilities, we have something new to talk about because they know the new stuff about us, and obviously also sponsor activation. As we gradually reopened at least some of our outdoor activities, it has also become very important to maintain clean and expand the outdoor facilities and equipment to accommodate the opening of outdoor sports. That means, so right now I'm actually looking out the window of our facility here in Copenhagen, where we have put up extra mobile hoops. In other places we have put up extra parkour rails, obstacles to skate, and so on, to make sure we have plenty of outdoor activities to engage in. Obviously also maintaining and prepare our indoor facilities for the opening with everything that goes with that. And then, like Patrik just mentioned, identify opportunities in relation to how COVID-19 affects the coming months. We have actually experienced some new users using our outdoors facilities that we didn't knew before, and potentially looking into a summer where many people are staying home in Denmark, also creates opportunities for activating new potential target groups. Lastly, I would also say that onboarding staff for the reopening is obviously at this point, where we hopefully are very close to the reopening, really essential, including the focus on the role as host, how we are welcoming back people to the facilities and outdoor activities. And then when we are able to open, obviously opening our doors in the most welcoming way, and then daily evaluating the activities, managing by walking around and asking our customers and members how they're doing, how they're feeling, and how they feel about returning to our facilities.
Yes, thank you. I think Laska, one question for Mikkel. Just for the rest of you, I'm collecting all of your questions, so don't worry, we will ask them right after. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's rather in the talk that you had, Mikkel, right now, and it's not one question, but from Behaviours, from the Hungarian School Sport Federation, rather extensive set of questions, but I think that this could be interesting also for the listeners. Is Behaviours asks, what facilities do you consider as a street sport facility? The first question, yeah. And the second one is generally who is maintaining and financing the operations?
Okay, yes. So basically, this is up for discussion, and I would not say what we consider street sports facilities, but or street sports in general. If you ask one place, you'll get one answer. But definitely, it's activities that would normally be done in the street, also that has the flexibility of primarily self-organized activities. But we have put them in a framework where we also do semi-organized activities, introducing members and new potential street sports enthusiasts to the different aspects of street sports. Also the culture, I think that's very important, that it's an urban culture that have sort of different norms than the traditional sports, with larger flexibility when you're using it, how you're using it, and how you're interacting with your peers in the different settings. Primarily what we're focusing on is street sports like street basketball, skate, scoot, parkour, dance, as such, many more also, but these are some of them. Yes. And how we are financed, that was the second question. Well, we're working with I would call like a patchwork funding. So we have some we have entrance fees, and we have bookings in our facilities then that we obviously spend on doing activities in the facilities also. We have municipal operating budgets for the 4 activities, but they don't cover all our expenses. So we are engaging partners, foundations also, to do social programs, both indoors and outdoors. So it's really a patchwork of funding.
Thank you, Mikkel, for answering those questions. In regards of strategy and Sokol, well, I would say that I would call it that we had kind of fluid strategy, because the situation was developing quite fast, and especially with the easing of restrictions. Every single week or almost every 2 weeks, there was new set of rules, new set of things from the government. So we really have to adapt quite fast. So kind of be flexible. Flexibility was really the key to us. So we had, but I think we had like 4 main pillars of our strategy. First, the same as Toni said at the beginning, right after the lockdown, we started to think about media visibility and about how can we communicate with our regions and Sokol sports clubs. How can we advocate for whole sector with the government? And the last thing was also how can we innovate? And I think the easiest part was actually focusing on media visibility, because we started to create online promotional videos, education videos, trainings, and so on. But we have also encouraged all members to broadcast and to share their videos from their home exercises. And that was one part, and it worked really well. We even had one member who was broadcasting every single evening for 50 days, 1 hour actually class. And this has actually developed from the bottom, from the small, really small sport Sokol club. And actually, because of our promotion and because of support from the members, this example went even to the national TV, radios, and so on. So we could actually really draw attention to sport for all and to our organization as well. It was one part of it. Media visibility was the key, and sharing good practices and encouraging members to share their physical trainings. The second part of our strategy was to advocate with the government. So we teamed up with the biggest sport federation in Czech Republic, Czech Union of Sport. And together we released a joint statement giving the key points to the government, which were necessary in order to keep our clubs running and to survive this COVID outbreak. So, and this also worked well. So, for instance, right this week, there's in the Czech Parliament program which could allocate approximately 1 billion Czech crown for sport for all clubs to kind of help them during those 3-4 months to survive. So, so we kind of did this advocacy as a part of our strategy to also negotiate and raise the importance of sport for all movement and physical activity. And then we have also focused on improving communication with regions of Sokol sports clubs. So we used, of course, video conferencing, and we can document that there was almost 500% increase in video calls between all sports clubs, and many actually sports clubs were organizing different hangouts and video calls to help with managing the stuff. And last thing, we also innovated. We have some new approaches towards physical activity when all clubs were closed. For instance, we developed, one of our sports club developed orienteering run, where the coaches were, they made a video, they posted on YouTube, and then you can go with your smartphone to nature, and there was small hidden QR codes, and you could actually scan this code, and you could see the instructor doing some physical activity. So this is an example how we started to innovate our approach to our members. So to sum up, focusing on visibility, advocacy for sector, and communication, improving communication with the region, and innovation. That was our strategy. I hope that's it's clear. We have some more question here, and perhaps I should ask now. We all have mentioned that we organized virtual activities, right? Mikkel, Patrik, and Toni said that. How have members been engaging with these virtual action? And if we have any data on that point, Luis Coelho from Brazil is asking. So who can start?
I can answer. It's a very interesting question, but very hard to answer. Why? Because as I mentioned, we provide our online workouts through social media. Then it means that we were not able to prepare a platform only close to our members. So on that way, it means that social media is for everyone. The real fact is that we increase a lot our number of followers in the social media, but followers are not members. But it means that perhaps we found potential members, but they live 1,000 kilometers away. And normally our standard was, our focus, our target group was people living or working in a 10 or 15 minutes walking distance from our sports centers. And now we discover that we have followers that they live 3,000 kilometers away. So honestly speaking, because of the lack to having a platform for members, it opened us the chance to get more interest for other community of people. But honestly speaking, we don't know exactly what has been the experience for our members, because we communicate through social media only in one way. The instructor providing movements to 200 people that they work out at the same time, but at home. So we have no feedback, and we cannot get what was the experience of our members, if they feel satisfied, if they really perform the workout that they already had to do. But the good thing was that we got other members, and now the challenge is, are we able to keep and maintain this social media broadcasting, or are we able to create a platform that can implement workout for people without coming to the club? These are the deal for the future. But let me add something else about workout at home. Now there are some surveys in Spain announcing how many injuries, how many people became injured doing this workout at home. Because in some cases they were not so experienced in doing physical exercise, and they had problems on the knees, they have problems on the backs, and there is a huge percentage of people that became injured just performing exercise at home. And this is an issue. And this is an issue to consider when you provide something that you cannot fix a feedback with our followers. But as a main data, we increase the number of followers, but we don't know what's going to happen with members, because we simply have no real platform to serve members only.
Thank you. Thank you. Any?
I just want to add what Toni said. I believe that this was just the first stage, that we have one-way communication. It means that providing through different social media or even YouTube. We use it for a closed group or whatever. This was just the first step, because we recognized that in the second step, we will try to make a two-way communication. It means an individual approach, so that people can use our programs. So it means some physical activities in a way that a trainer can help also the one who is practicing. So this is something that we discovered, that this could be really something new that we can include in our offer, which means that we will not just communicate one way, because what is the main problem? That we don't know who actually will attend this. Only if you close the group. If you close the group, then of course you know how many people are watching, how many people attended, and how long they stayed, because this is also important data. It means that in future we will do also these individual courses, because we truly believe that some people are not coming to the sport venues in the past, if I'm comparing with the past, because they're really afraid of the other people that are practicing also sport, because perhaps they are not in the same physical conditions, or they don't look nice and whatever. So this is something that's open to us, a new world, and it actually is a part of our strategy, so that students who are coming back, that we will start to do also this kind of activity, and especially in the, let's say, frozen period, because you know that when there is no school activities or university activities, students are at home, and usually the cities, like is mine city, more than half of students are coming from different cities, so they are not living in our city. So it means that we can offer our programs to those who are not staying here, who cannot join to our sport venues, that they can still participate even they are living far away. Like Toni said, that they have now some new followers from 3,000-4,000 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mikkel, please.
Yeah, just a short comment. Obviously, the physical activity or inspiring physical activity is important, but I think for us, retaining the sense of community was even more important. So I would actually say that our biggest achievement in relation to using social media is when we got our users and members to send us different tutorials and even offering to facilitate trainings. So it wasn't our coaches or staff, it was actually the members taking charge and inspiring their peers. So that could be how to do a tail whip on a scooter, or how to do a baby freeze in breakdance, ball handling skills for the basketball enthusiasts, or inviting other members for a trick shot challenge. And now there was a question from Hungary to me right before. We were actually challenged by a Hungarian organization also. So I think that creating or retaining that sense of community and giving the members and users ownership of the platform has been super important and really valuable to us.
Yeah. Well, in our case, we also have these challenges between each sports clubs and Sokol sports clubs, and these were mostly made by members, not coaches. And then also these streams. The issue is that it's really hard to measure exact impact, and but what we can document is some views on YouTube, how many participants viewed that video and clicked on each video. We can document that, but it doesn't show how they were satisfied or if they followed the routines along. So that's kind of hard. But what we now are planning to do is that we will analyze those videos, because it's of course recorded and on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere, and we can actually use it for study purposes, to learn something more about our coaches, about people, how they train, and if we need to improve our education at some point, focus on some different activities. So to us, we can use it as a resource for improving quality of classes and quality of trainers, because we can see how they were performing on the streams and what they did. So we will use it in this way, but it's really hard to measure exact impact, as I think Mikkel or Patrik said. I suggest now we have a really interesting discussion, almost 50 minutes long. I would suggest to have a short break. What about, it's a move week time. That means we should all move, right? So I ask not just our presenters, but also you behind the computer and behind the phone, just to move a little bit. So please, if you have space like this around you, please stand up. If you can stand up, and just show me your hands, and just do like this. I don't know if you can just shake your hands, shake it up and down. Now hold your desk and do 5 slow squats. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now do like this. Breathe in, look up, and breathe out. And 4 more. 4. Breathe in and out. And 2 more. And last one. Great. Move your shoulders, circles back. 4, 3. Are you doing this with us? Because we do. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last thing. Go down. Move to the side. Go down and back. Do squat and opposite. And 4 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last thing, put your palms like this and clap your hands. Clap your hands. Thank you very much. Just short, really short movement, really quick, just to focus now more on the next question. We discussed that communication was and still is a really important part of strategy. So how is your experience, or how will you develop your communication in the new normal? What is your good practices? What works? What it's not working for you? Who can start? Patrik?
Yeah, regarding the communication, anyway, we use our website and the social media to communicate with our students, because this is the easy way. As I already explained it today, the new generation that is currently studying, it's very, very familiar with all this social media and everything else, so it's easy to communicate them. But during this pandemic period, the most important was not just to communicate with our members, our students, but was important to really speak for staff, because they were at the beginning very afraid. What is happening? What will happen? What is next? Their future. So this was the main questions that they were arising. So for us was, especially for me as a responsible as a leader in the association, to communicate with them and to calm them, that to say, don't worry, this is just a small period in your life, that it's a specific one, but we will come back to the reality and we will work like we did in the past. So this was for me very important during this period, to communicate with my staff, not to lose them, because if you lose them, that you lose a lot of things, because staff is crucial in our business. And the second part are the stakeholders. Some of our colleagues, my colleagues that are working in other sport field, they lose sponsors, and this was the big problem which come out in this period. The companies that were co-financing some activities, they immediately step out from the business. They say, okay, we don't want to give you any sponsorship anymore, because we don't know what will be future. We know that economic crisis is coming, is knocking on the door, and the second part of this year will become more difficult than these 2 months. And this is something that it's important to inform your stakeholders. What are your currently planned? What is your strategy? How you will work in the future? Just to say them that it's not over, but it's just the new beginning, and this beginning will be different and even better than in the past. And this is important to communicate to all the stakeholders, to keep them together with you and to continue to support you. And this, I think, it's also important in the communication.
Mikkel.
Yeah, apart from the social media aspect that we just covered, I would like to share maybe not surprising, but at least a pretty interesting aspect of communication we experienced in our activities in our organization. So the days following the lockdown, many of our young staff members and also volunteers were approached by peers and users of our activities with health and activity related questions. For instance, should I go see a doctor because I was at an event with people who had the virus, or can we still meet up and skate? So that proved two things. First of all, that our staff and volunteers are considered and are important role models. I already knew that, but that they had an important part to play in creating awareness also of the health authorities' guidelines. So that's why we actually send out simple instructions in both writing and also via video posts to staff and volunteers with instruction on what messages and guidelines to carry on to their peers and share in their local networks on how they can be role models, and also that we trusted them to act as role models also in relation to limiting the spread of the virus too. I would say that the role has been especially eminent for our volunteers in our program activities in more underserved communities, since the data on the virus in Denmark shows that ethnic minorities are overrepresented in the statistics of people getting the virus. So since most of our volunteers come from families with ethnic minority background and are bilingual, we encourage them to introduce the health authorities' guidelines to peers and family members who might not have heard or understood them, both in the beginning of the lockdown and also again when we entered the Ramadan, where Muslim families under normal circumstances would meet and break the fast together in the evening. So I think that was has been an important approach from us also, how our staff and volunteers can help limit the spread of the virus also.
Toni?
Yeah, well, considering for how long have we had this lockdown, imagine 70 days, we have communicated in different ways to three main target groups. First, customers, members. Secondly, staff, employees, volunteers. And third, suppliers. Those are our stakeholders that are in our value chain, that they have to get something from us. So imagine in 70 days, we have modulated different messages. Where we are right now is that now people, our members, are asking concrete things based on when, what, and how. Exactly is when are we going to open, how should we have to perform, and what will we have to do, and how much it costs. So now we are focused on communicate, obviously with emotion and thankful, because after 70 days and they still waiting for the reopening. And then we use at this moment short messages and concrete information, always answering when, how, and what, because we are not going to use any commercial offer at this moment, because for us it's much better to keep a current member than to look for a new one. So we are focused on concrete things, especially answering concrete questions. And of course, we have to inform our staff how is going to happen this reopening, what we are going to do, what are the restrictions and measures, and we need to deal with the same message, because now we have to communicate with empathy. Empathy, that means that people feel fair, people are not safe, don't feel safe coming to the gym, and that's why we need to use and to get their confidence and credibility. If we announce the measures as going to be this, we need to show honesty and go through this. If we assume that the attendance is going to be focused on this percentage of people, We will assume this, and we are going to communicate with honesty, because for us, what's the most important thing right now is to show credibility and confidence. Because if no, people will feel fair to come back to the gyms and to practice together. And one important thing is try to get feedback from your customer. Try to get feedback. How do they feel coming to you, or how do they feel after these 70 days of lockdown? If they really improve the physical condition, if they follow you, and pay attention to that feedback to take decisions. And for me, for us, one important thing is to act rationally. Do not act considering how to protect as much as possible your building and your staff and your people. Please consider what are the expectations of your members. There are different surveys considering what are the members expecting from your club. And the members are expecting cleanliness, are expecting certain measures like attendance, like physical distance, but do not make from your club something like a nuclear plant, very protect, very isolated, because people act rationally. And if they find that these measures are too strong, they will feel fair. And there are some surveys considering that most of people, 40% of people, will come back not at the beginning of the reopening, probably at 2, 3, or 4 months after, when they check that you are providing confidence and credibility. So for me, the main message is to communicate, answering concrete questions, and in a very concrete way, and communicating with emotion.
Thank you. I think there's one question, Laska, if you can please ask.
And I think it's very much connected to what Toni just said about the changes and implementations that are provided for the members or athletes. So the question comes from Kimberly Elliott, and she's from the America Sokol organization, Chicago. And she's asking, in Chicago, we have still not been allowed to open our facilities. And she's wondering for the participating organizations, what are the changes, implementations that you have provided to your athletes and coaches? And this is the questions to the speakers that are already opening their facilities. And maybe also, Toni, for you, for the plans for reopening facilities and what you would offer as changes and implementations.
Well, what we did was to, first of all, to ask to a specialist in which way do we have to open the club. It means what kind of cleaning procedures, what kind of product. And one of our worries is to demonstrate and to certificate these procedures. We promised this and we did this, and this is the stamp. So there are a lot of messages on my mail inbox about what type of procedures, what kind of products you should have to use. But my recommendation is be clear and be simple, effective and simple. Don't complicate it too much, because it costs a lot of money, and sometimes the most simple solution is the most effective. And one important thing is to train your staff in how to protect themselves from potential infection. And in the end, give guidelines to your users, to your participants, to your members, how to protect themselves, because the main protection issue is the social and personal responsibility to not infect others. So probably people will need guidelines, what to do. Of course, we are going to clean any surface that people are touching, that's for sure, that's for the manual. But manual is a manual, but the way that you are going to implement your procedures is up to you and your staff. And that's very important to communicate with your staff and to follow the procedures together, because looking for credibility and confidence, it's very, very important to coordinate that and to announce guidelines to people, because the self-protection is the best protection they can do.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, any other answers, or we can then move to another topic, another question still burning. So, well, we have been talking a lot about our members and customers' fear, expectations, barriers, behavior. What do we know about it? How is your experience from your organization? What is your members' expectations? What are your members' expectations? And how do you approach that? How do you solve it? How do you approach their barriers? It's connected to what Toni said. Patrik?
Yeah, of course, it is very important when you come back, let's say, to the reality that you have a clear message. Already what Toni said. So we should be honest with our members. So we should communicate with them in a really open way what we are doing. So actually how we are cleaning, what kind of chemical things we are using. So they must be aware about our things that we are providing for them, because this is important. Some of people will come immediately, those who doesn't believe in virus, doesn't believe in anything, so they will come and they will say, why we don't want, we are not complicating. But on the opposite side, you have people that are afraid, that feel a fear. They say, oh, maybe I will never practice. And for those people, you should communicate in a very confident way that you're doing the best to protect their health, and they will feel safe in your place. And as I present also my presentation, it is important to put clear house rules, how we say, that it means that the rules of behavior, it's clearly written what we are expecting from our participants and what we're expecting from the trainers. Not just to put, we are expecting that when you come to our place, you will follow this and these rules. I think it's important to clearly write what we are expecting also from our trainers. We should be open. Why not? Why we don't need to hide what we are instructing our coaches and trainers that are working there, because they must see that we are the same, treating them with instructions, and this is the house rule. So for each of the participants, whoever is coming in has own rule, what to do, how to protect from the others and for itself. And what is important, what I already mentioned, always is important to teach them how to make their healthy lifestyle, because I believe, personally, I believe this is the only way how to fight against all viruses and other things that are feeling us sick. So if we are doing a lot for ourselves, it means following the healthy lifestyle, then we will not feel no problem in the future.
Thank you, Patrik. Mikkel, any thoughts about that?
No, I think Patrik is totally right in his assessment of the customers and users returning, both the ones fearing and the ones who don't take the risk of getting the virus too seriously. So obviously we need to address both groups, both the ones that needs to follow the rules and guidelines, and making sure that the ones fearing returning knows that this is something we take very seriously. I totally agree in Patrik's assessment here.
I have another question from the audience. Yes, I'm sorry, Toni.
Can I add something? Because that is something that right now we have lived the tragedy of the infection and the consequences, but now it's coming the drama. The drama comes from the economic area. It means that many people will become affected by the economy, and we expect less people more focused on price than on service. So it means that people will come more demanding, people will come less loyal to your brand, perhaps, or to your club, and they will look for other alternatives. But the question of the fees is going to be crucial, because if you remember, especially in Spain, in the Lehman Brothers crisis in 2008, 2012, low-cost clubs, low-budget clubs appear in the screen and being strong competitors of local clubs and fitness centers. So they take care with the consideration of the price, because it's going to be an issue for people. So our plans include this as well for the reopening. And at the same time, we're still considering that the online offer could play a certain role, probably not relevant, but a certain role, because people now discover the online shopping, discover that stay at home was an option, and now for sure it will be it's going not to be so quick that all members will come back to the clubs. And that means that you must be patient to the answer of your customers, because if you don't realize, you don't achieve the expected results in the time you expected, don't be impatient. Take care, consider the fears of people, be empathic with your customers, because of these are the new behavior of them.
Thank you, Toni. Perhaps we can keep that question I wanted to ask for the Q&A section, which will be shortly coming. Two more questions which we need to cover this evening is, what is the role of the leader during the COVID and after? The first question. And how do you define the new normal? What is it for you, the new normal? What life or what the world will look like? Mikkel, you might start.
Yes. Yes, since this is an unprecedented situation, we need to lead the staff to navigate in these new waters, also in relation to questions that are not in our area of expertise also. So obviously this is a big challenge. I would say that with many employees working from home, it has been crucial for me, at least, to check in with staff regularly, both with the ones who feel isolated and alone, but also the ones struggling balancing homeschooling their own children because they're sent home from school, and also delivering on the job, maybe feeling inadequate both places. I would also say that an important point is to focus on the social aspect that we miss when we're at a distance with colleagues and volunteers also. So in our organization, we have had common online sports and workouts facilitated by colleagues twice a week, and other social online gathering like Friday bar, bingo, quizzes, appreciative goodie bags with candy sent home to full-time employees, and so on. So a lot of different initiatives. I would say in game we have a saying that in all developing or innovative processes, we need to have our feet and ears and eyes on the floor. In our case, asphalt, because that's what we have on our floor doing street sports. This means that we need to know the needs, concerns, and context of our target group, and meeting them by and observing them and talking to them and showing them that we care and are excited to see them return also. So leading, at least reopening our facilities, will be managing by walking around both in the indoor and outdoor facilities, meeting both staff and customers. That will be super important, obviously.
Yes. Patrik?
Yeah, so I think the leader has the main role to be really updated with all information every day. So during this period, actually, I was really following what is happening on a daily basis. So what new information from the government, what are the new information from the National Health Institute. So actually, leader is the one who should know more or less everything, because when someone is asking you from your staff or from your members, you must be able to answer on this question. So this, it's something that it's giving you a clear message that you are aware what is happening now, and is giving you opportunity to think what is happening tomorrow. So the leader also should be always with thinking ahead what is going to be in the following days. This is something really important, because if you're really following all the news, then more or less you know how it's going to be in the further days. Our government was communicating on a daily basis about the things that are going to change, and even they are saying, okay, we are thinking maybe in the following days we will do this and that. And this was helping us to start to do our activities quite early, to prepare when something will be open, especially when the question was always when the indoor facilities are going to be open. And more or less we know some 6-7 days earlier that they are going to open. And so we were really ready on time to start with our activities. And this is, I think, the most important part of the leader. So really to know the information that I believe that, let's say, members or staff, they are really not following. And should I ask also on the second question, or we will with the new normal?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, the new normal is actually, I don't see that it's new normal. I think that we are just waiting that we start from where we finish. The new normal for me is that we should communicate with everyone very open. So this is something new normal, to show them what is behind the scene. Because probably now when we are doing some activities, we don't say what we are doing in the back, that some program can be realized. If we are in a fitness center, we don't say what we are doing when the fitness center is closed. So I think it's very important to communicate what we are doing when everything is closed, or what they don't see, because when they're coming to the gym or when they're coming to sport venues, they just see the product that we are offering them. I think that we should communicate now in the new normal what we are doing before they are coming, which means with cleaning, with providing all the safety, and we are providing all the healthy things, even to promote what kind of chemical things we are using. Don't forget, this is not so healthy when we are cleaning 10-20 times per day, going to shop and you must clean with, you don't know actually what you are using. This is not good for our skin. So this is important to let them know how you are preparing the place that they can practice in a safe way. I think this is the new normal.
Thank you. And Toni?
Yeah, well, I fully agree what was said. But let me introduce, right now, we were very focused on managers, and now it's time for leaders. So managers were those who attending indicators, who plan, who set goals, who propose, but now leaders are those who must answer quickly and take quick decisions and adapt to the new situation, because it will be a new situation. We have no time for planning. We have time to acting and checking what happened and change the action and look for another one. That's time and role of leadership. And then leaders now will have to fix priorities and looking for the effectiveness of every action. So we are not managing, we are leadering. Leadering means that check, try, and change. That should be the new role for leaders. And of course, they should have to be personally involved with people and be empathic. And of course, they will need to create a team that allow to innovate in the entity, and they will have to lead and be focused on this team and try to engage as much talent people as possible on the team, because they need motivated people to change and to deal with the new situation. That will be a new situation. And of course, a leader must be a visionary of the future. He or she must be a step forward in front of the new situation and searching opportunities, communicating the challenge to the people and to the staff and to he or her team. And of course, my feeling is that we will forgive this crisis. Probably in 20 years, we will not remind what was the crisis in 2020 or 2021. But for sure, we will remember who led the crisis, who were the leaders of the crisis. That's for sure that's my position about the leaders.
Thank you, Toni, for your insight as well. So I think we are getting really close to the end. So we have time for Q&A section, question and answers. So please, if you have anything you'd like to ask, please feel free now to write, and we can ask all speakers. And I will start with the first question I have, which is just have to find it now. Yes. Laura Maria is asking, do you predict any changes with the volunteer engagement that is quite vital to the grassroots sports sector? Who would like to answer that? Mikkel, I see you nodding.
Yes, I would say that obviously for our activities, we are really dependent of the volunteers in order to facilitate all our activities, and obviously, just as the members and customers, we need to put the attention on the needs and concerns of the volunteers as well. And this is something we actually have been focusing on during the crisis also, checking in with the volunteers, listening into their concerns and their thoughts about returning. I think that also calls for new measures to be introduced in general, not only for volunteers, but how we innovate and create solutions for all target groups, whether it'll be volunteers or members. Here in GAME, we have identified a number of design principles that we're using in order to create innovation, and we take an anthropological approach, meaning that we need to come as close as possible to, and also to understand those who will use these solutions. And that means that we're not only asking them what they want, but observing them and also understand their choices that they make. I can give you a short example, not relating to volunteers, but we were working on creating some recommendation on how to engage girls who are left inactive or not participating in organized sports. And when we ask, instead of asking the girls how to improve our facility and make it attractive, we ask them, where do you like to hang out and why? So while developing recommendation, we asked these kinds of questions, and what they answered was not a sports facility, but they said McDonald's. Does that mean that we have to hire Ronald McDonald's? No, but we maybe should consider better options for hanging out, for recharging your phone, flexible opening hours, spotless toilets, things that girls associated with McDonald's. So it's about asking the right questions for getting the answers that you want and need to improve and to innovate.
Thank you. We are really almost at the end. So if Toni or Patrik wants to add something, please be really brief, or we can skip to, yes, Toni?
Yeah, well, according to the staff of volunteers, I think we should have to look for different competences and backgrounds, considering the opportunities that the new normal will bring us. You have to consider where are your customers and how could you achieve them. I mean, probably other sector, other backgrounds, volunteers or staff will be needed. People able to communicate, people able to communicate with empathy, and that's going to be a great opportunity. How to engage other profile of people, not probably close to sport activities, but very close to communicating, to innovating, to use digital media, for instance. So I think background of volunteers and staff as well, it's going to change.
Thank you, Toni. So I'm looking at Patrik and Laska. I know we need to finish now.
No, maybe just a short comment regarding the volunteers. I don't think that will be a big change, because volunteers, when they're helping us, they're helping because they want to do it. And if they want to do it, they will do it again. So they are too much motivated, and they will not feel a big fear because of anything. I think that volunteers will do their job like they did it, and without them, we are lost. We know that volunteers are crucial in every sport sector.
Yes, thank you very much. I think we have answered almost all those questions. I think before we finish, we have last two questions for the audience. Laska, if you can please share that question. First, what did you learn from COVID-19? Just before we finish, quick response to opportunities, resilience, not giving up, how to collaborate better, innovations and innovating. Please check your answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Thank you. How are we, Laska?
Yeah, 24% of people shared that they learned how to respond quickly to opportunities. 29 shared that resilience was their learning. 24% share how to collaborate better, and equally 12% of innovating and not giving up. So yeah, participants really, I think all of us, we learned quite a lot.
Thank you. And my last question is, or last question for audience as well, is what is your main takeaway from this webinar? What is the main, what did you actually bring from this webinar? Importance of strategy, importance of communication, ideas or examples for adapting, importance of understanding members, staff and stakeholders, or definition of what new normal could look like. Please vote for 5 more, 4, 3.
No, 2. Give us a little bit more time.
Okay, let's think about more time. I'm too fast, I know.
Yeah.
So,
30 seconds.
Okay, 25 seconds.
Okay, closing now.
Thank you, Laska.
Okay, we have 38% the ideas, examples of adapting to the new normal. 31% importance of communication, internal, external. 25% importance of strategy. 6% have shared that they now have definition of a new normal, and importance of understanding members and staff, we have 0.
Well,
that's a good feedback.
That's a good feedback, and I think it's also another topic for another webinar in the future. So we can always think about it in this way. And thank you very much for showing us results. I would like to really say thank you to all speakers, to Toni, Mikkel, and Patrik, and of course Laska for putting all us together. And I really want to say also thank you to you who were able to watch our webinar and also engage in discussion by giving us a question and interacting with us. So I would like to pass my stage to Laska and ask her for official closing of this webinar.
Yes. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the participants. Thank you to all attending this first webinar. Thank you for being patient with us. As I promised at the beginning, at the end, we fixed everything. So now we know how to do it. And webinars are the new normal. And you know, we have our new normal. Thank you again for being part of this session. Rachel will prepare the insights of the session, and we will share through our social media. We have some questions also that were left unanswered. I hope that also our speakers will send it to them and they could give us written answers. We can also share over social media. We will edit a bit the video and we will send to all registered people. And again, please save the date, because next Wednesday, 3rd of June, we have our second webinar, which is on the future of places. Again, with amazing places and spaces for physical activity, and how cities are changing also the ways how they provide opportunities for people to be physically active. Hopefully we will be all together again, great speakers from GAME, from Yale Architects, Morgans, our president, will be there. Me, I will be there, of course. Rachel, our communications manager, and of course we have Ramon Morales from Valencia. So great set of speakers again and moderators. Thank you again for being part, and please don't hesitate to send us any feedback you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mikkel, Toni, Patrik, Martin. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
Bye.
invitation.
See you soon.